And with that, we press the big red button as today is the first day of Rocktober, right? October, a million years ago, and not for very long. I was a DJ at the college radio station. We weren't the first ones to call it Rocktober, but the term is stuck. We were at the station. Oh, hang on. Thank you very much. Like what? Ooh, number 0000. I got a message on the back channel. So we're the station that rocks the rivers, reaches the beaches. And I remember what the other thing was, but we did it all. So, hey, good after Friday, good Friday, good Pi Day Friday, good drama. It is October 1st of 2021. If you're watching this far into the future and wondering, man, all kinds of stuff going on in the back channel. There we go. Okay. I see Andrew typing on the back channel. So good afternoon, everybody. It's a big day today on drama. We got a lot of ground to cover. I don't know if we're going to get it all covered because I've had a change of gears. And man, the muse was upon me. I ran into this project and it's different than the project I'd hoped to do today. We'll talk about why that is and what I'm doing. But man, this thing has me just motivated. And I hope you find some of the same joy and excitement that I do in this thing. I'm not going to do anything beyond this lesson for drama. Again, might push a little bit off into next week, but that'd be it. But this thing totally has my juices going, and I'm going to do something with this. Maybe a Udemy course, maybe an element of Linux Plus. I don't know, but just, man, I was cranking until 2 o'clock this morning on it, and I wanted to go more. And no, I got to go to bed. There's things to do in the morning, people to kill, places to go. So good day to you, night to you, some of you. I see some night people here already in the chat. I'll poke in there for just a second. This is Drama, Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything, and Scott. I am Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars. And this is an Ask Me Anything. And we focus on, as far as the Ask Me's, Raspberry Pis, CompTIA, trifecta courses, A+, Net+, Security+, IT Fundamentals Plus, any other CompTIA thing or other technical pieces of technology that you like to talk about and ask about. I'll take a stab at it if I know anything about it. If not, I'll either take it on as a research project or leave you to it. We'll see how that all goes. It is my pleasure to host Pi Day Friday, and I do so with my partner in Pi, Scott Jernigan. Scott is working the back channel. He is the senior editor and many times author and co-author and senior cook at the Westin Galleria, I believe, a 4-star Michelin restaurant. Specialty is escargot and peanut butter, I believe is correct. Scott's working the back channel. He's taking your questions, answering them in advance when I don't get to them, and or if I don't do well with them. He posts things on my behalf, so I don't have my hands running all over 47 keyboards and looking for different menus and things like that. So if you want to talk with us, it's an easy thing to do. If you're watching live, send a message on chat. If you want to specifically ask a question of Scott or myself, use the @ sign or the £, and then start typing our names. I'm in as David Rush today. Scott's in as Scott Jernigan. If you just start typing star, or I'm sorry, ampersand, @ sign, that's the thing, @ sign David, you'll see my name fill in, and you can keep going from there. Enter on it. Same for Scott's, and same if you want to talk amongst yourselves for each other. Sometimes, like Andrew Hutz, just types Dave, and it's a miracle if I spot it, but I did spot it because it was at the bottom here. Do I know if Smurf attacks are still really a thing? Yes, I know that they're not, because everybody knows about Smurf attacks. There are lots of effective tools to prevent them. Now, can they happen? Yeah, they can if folks don't take advantage of the tools. But by and large, hackers know that any tempting target, any valuable target, not Dave Rush's house, oh man, we're going to Smurf him. And we'll get into what Smurfs are for everybody else in a little bit. I'm not a tempting target. I don't have a CloudFront interface that will intercept massive DNS requests on my system. That's just weird, but okay. So I could be smurfed, but if you're going after IBM or Yahoo or Amazon or somebody massive like that, yeah, that's me. Sorry about that. I'll fix that. Okay, problem. My phone is vibrating and it was sitting on a surface that was hard, and so it was vibrating along with it. I apologize for that. I think we got it in a place that'll keep it quiet. All right, but I'm not into questions yet here. Let me finish up what I got to do here. All right, so Scott's moderating the back channel, and you're welcome to talk to him. And same for me. If you just post something there, I'll try and read it, but if it doesn't have my name on it or Total Seminars channel, you can do at Total Seminars channel. I can see that one. What is this? This is the 61st drama in our series. We've been not quite a year and a half at it. I think we started in March, April, May. Heck, I don't even know. 65 weeks ago. How's that? And this is a production of Total Seminars. This is the Total Seminars YouTube channel. And Mike Myers, president of Total Seminars and senior writer and many other titles and responsibilities under his hat, is kind enough to let me have these 2 hours with you every Friday for us to talk about these things. What do we talk about? Well, we said we take CompTIA and other technology questions. And of course, every week we try to find a way to use the Raspberry Pi to foster studying for CompTIA. So today, a little bit on course. It's got some relevance to some Sec Plus stuff, maybe a little bit of A Plus, but it's really going to go in a little broader direction today. I think you're going to like what I've got. I know I do. We do AMAs and dramas 3 times a week. Mike does a Monday and Wednesday show, excuse me, sometimes with Scott in studio with him side by side. They start at 2 o'clock and go till 3 o'clock or a little later if the questions are hot and heavy. I do the same thing on Friday, except I plan mine from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. That's Central Time, my time, whether it's daylight savings or not, it's 2 o'clock start time. So let's start out with, if you have a question and you can't put it on the live chat, you can contact me or Scott or Mike Myers in any number of ways. The easiest one and the bestest one is email. So if you want to talk to me and you can't do so via chat, catch me. My name is Dave Rush and I work for Total Seminars. So I am daveR@totalsem.com. You can also use my personal email address, drushtx. I'm Dave Rush in Texas at Yahoo. Scott Jernigan also amazingly works at Total Seminars, scottj@totalsem.com. And Michael Myers also works there and owns there. So you can catch him at Michael M, not on this handy dandy little list here. And if this goes by too fast, just pause the screen right about now, write down what you need to know, and then pick right back up. And that's what we'll do next. Shrinky dink that. Okay. One other thing, let me get the housekeeping out of the way. We got specials. Oh, do we have specials? This is the last couple days of the week that this special will be offered for. I don't know what they're going to do next week. Announcements, unofficial links. Man, I'll tell you, if I don't have, man, I worked on stuff last night, deep into the night. There we go. And I got a little foggy at the end, so I may have missed a step or two here, but I think I got it. So is that specials? Yeah, that looks like specials. So what do we got this week? We got bundles. 2 element bundles. There's an ebook and a total tester applies to. Thank you. At 2:09, Scott has posted this same thing with the code. So you don't have to pause and remember this, but you certainly can. So we got bundles. They're made up of 2 pieces, the ebook and the total tester. That's all bundled together. It's lots of practice tests. 50% off if you use our handy dandy code. And we've got those bundles available for A+, Net Plus, Security Plus, Cybersecurity Analyst, Pen Test Plus, AWS. And some weeks I get it and some weeks I don't. Something Associate Architect, Systems Associate Architect. There we go. So you go to our website, www.totalsem.com, fill up your bag with loot, your shopping cart. And then when you check out, use the code GLENN, Glenn, lowercase, like John Glenn, who went to the moon and who went up in the space shuttle and is the source of much conjecture about, is he the only person from the Apollo program to also have been on the STS? Scott is now an expert on that and can fill us in if necessary. This thing is good through this Sunday night, October 3rd. I don't know what time. So don't worry about it. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. Don't wait till Sunday. And then you don't have to worry about when it expires. Next week, we'll do a new special. This is only for you nice folks who join us on these AMAs every week. One last thing in housekeeping today. We do a project every week, almost every week. I think we've missed 2 in the last 61 episodes for good reasons and bad. And I often tell you that you don't need a Raspberry Pi to do many of the projects that we do. You can do them in Ubuntu machines and Debian machines and Arch machines. You can do them on a dedicated machine. You can do it in a VM. And all of these things, of course, that we do work on Raspberry Pi. That's kind of the whole point of the show, right? Well, this week's is one of those exception ones. What we're doing, the files that I'm using and things like that, this is a Raspberry Pi project. So you're going to need one if you want to do this one along with me today. I do have all the documents and notes and outlines and things like that I use to do my presentations available on a download server. Scott, if you'd be so kind as to post the PyR Square server link. If you want to, I fired it up last night. I usually keep it running at about 24 hours or so. I'll do it and I'll bring it back up if you send me an email to daveR@totalsem.com or drushtx and say, hey, I need your server up to get some, download some of your documents to follow along. And that way I don't have to watch the show. You can just do that in the notes. And that server is at PyR Square, PIRSQUARE .zapto.org. It's up and running right now. It's ready to download. The first link takes you to the downloads pages, and they're in chronological order. So the last link on that page is today's stuff. All right, let's see what's going on with people who have come here to talk and watch and listen and learn. Hopefully, it's a good turnout for this time. Give me a thumbs up, by the way, when you get a chance underneath my streaming face. It helps people find these programs. So when they want to learn about what we're doing today, we're going to do Rocky Linux, which for all intents and purposes is Red Hat Enterprise Linux on a Raspberry Pi. And it's just, man, something like Red Hat. It should bring up in your mind huge, massive, performance consuming, RAM consuming, space consuming. Nothing could be further from the truth. It is compact, it is efficient, it is powerful, and it runs beautifully on a Raspberry Pi. So we'll do that today. It's just fun. I'll talk about the whys and wherefores and heretofores and so forth as we go. Okay, so let's see who's here. Tullwood punches in at 1:50 p.m. By the way, I've skipped the last 2 Discords. I'll put Discord information up shortly, but I will be on today. The missus is at the airport as we speak. Her plane is due to leave in 12 minutes, and I won't see her until Friday when we do our next show. So yes, Patricia, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. We're doing a clone of it. It's called Rocky, but it's Red Hat. And then Patricia retracted her next message. Alan Duggan is here. Greetings, mon ami. Scott checks in 3 minutes before showtime, as he always does. Why did I turn up as Total Seminars channel? And what the heck am I logged in as? I'm logged in as me. That's just weird. I'm going to do something here. I should not be Total Seminars channel. And it totally makes no sense to me. All right, hang on. Let me clear something here. Do that. And you can do what I'm doing right now. I just setting up the chat window. I've popped it out and I've got timestamps turned on so you can tell when I'm talking about what I'm talking about. If you ask a question, and you can see me working questions at 17 minutes past the hour, and you posted your question at 29 minutes past the hour, you know, it's going to be a couple minutes before I get to your question. And I try to be fairly diligent about reading off the timestamps where I'm working at right now. Okay, I'm back on live champ. I'm back in. That may or may not be me. We'll see. Avanat's here. David Mueller is here. October 1st hype. Hey, David, long time no see, bud. Crazy homebody girl here, right at showtime. Good. Nice to see you again. Catherine's amongst us. Thanks for coming in, Catherine. And Patricia Grace is frowning and sad because I'm doing Red Hat. Man, don't, because this is, where do you see this? You will catch my enthusiasm. I am so knocked out and bowled over by this. This is not the first time that we have installed something that's not Raspberry Pi OS. It was the second. We did an Ubuntu installation once, but we did that as a foundation because we were playing with Docker, and Docker needs a 64-bit, and there was good tutorials on that. But this one, we're doing this because it's an operating system that's worthy of your consideration. So is Ubuntu. David Mueller at 2:05. I saw a practice question that said, on a server, if a drive fails on a RAID 1 array, what would you do to fix the problem? I answered, replace the failed drive, but the answer was replace both drives. Well, that's ridiculous. Look, these practice test questions, people get them from whatever sources they get them. Some people claim that they remember questions from the exam and they post them in various brain dump places, and some people make up questions. And then, of course, you know, if you get them from, if you're not writing them yourself, this is what we do. This is why our test questions are the best on the planet. Let me segue here for a second. We sit down, we read our books, we research on what kinds of questions they're asking on the CompTIA exams. We take the CompTIA exams. We know what questions they're asking, and we don't recreate those because that's a violation of the NDA. And because of our very close relationship with CompTIA, it would come down worse on us than it would on anybody else. So we write a question. Now we know the validity of that question. We write the choices and the answers. We write the right answer. We identify the right answer, and then we explain it. So when you get these goobers who just come up with a question from somewhere, top of their head, they heard it from a friend, they had, Scott, would you ask the other back channelers not working in our thing to hold off for a little while? My machine is pinging like crazy and I can't turn it off so that I can communicate with you. Thank you very much. So they come up with answers. Sometimes I see just horrifically wrong answers, and I'm going to bet that every kind of brain dump site that I have researched has 20 to 30% wrong answers. And the one that you've identified here is another wrong one. You pull the failed drive and you replace it. Now you got to do reinitialize, you got to do some stuff with the firmware on the RAID controller. You got to identify that you've pulled the bad one and that you've installed a new one and get the resync process started. But no, you pull them both. Where's your data? How are you going to recreate the data? That's just ridiculous. All right, that's my soapbox. I hate bad test questions. Mike's soapbox is get a job. Mine is bad test questions from out on the web. Enter Total Tester, one of the most inexpensive and thorough practice test engines that you're going to find anywhere. And what our test engine, Total Tester, is so cool because you can configure it in so many ways. Andrew, you're watching this, buddy. Ease up on that back channel for a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. It makes my machine ping all over the place. And I think it's Scott trying to communicate with me, or you on the back channel. Yeah. What was he saying? I got so upset there. I'm all exercised. All right. Patricia Grace, buzz, buzz. Yes. You know how it operates, Scott. Catherine, Dave. So what exactly causes the lag time difference of your broadcast on my different devices? Okay. There is a technology out on the internet called a CDN, a content delivery network. It's servers that are located all over the place, all over many nations and all over many countries, many states. And so what happens is YouTube, a streaming operation for some of its things like this, sends information out based on where people are who have checked in, who've logged into the site and have a YouTube account. So they might say, Patricia Grace, she's in Florida. I'm going to send a multicast stream to a server, to it's a repeater server, basically, near where Patricia Grace is. And it's got to go through a number of routers before it gets there, before it's finally and ultimately delivered to Patricia Grace. You might be in Iowa. So, okay, YouTube's system says we're going to send it to a CDN repeater server somewhere in Moline. And again, it's going to go through different numbers of routers. And so even in the same locations, when you're using mobile devices, they use IPv6 and they back up on IPv4, and they use their cellular carrier's identity for location. So your computer is tied to your ISP, tied to the internet. Your tablet, maybe your tablet, your phone going through its phone carrier is actually kind of located in a different place. So that's the usual reason. And there's also vagaries of the internet in and of itself, but that's where it all comes from. Okay, 209. Scott posted, hope that helps. Let me know if I can provide more. Scott posted at 209 the special deals for today. Andre de Goyert's here. Many greetings, my friend. Man, I was going to, no, I let it go. Andre posted a really nice information on the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel, and I was going to throw a snarky comment at it. It was the regarding that picture of the volcano, Andre, but I let it go. Scott Journey says, according to the wiki article, John Glenn is the only person to fly in both Mercury and space shuttle programs. Okay, what you said the other day was Apollo, and I can see where Mike fell apart on that because I started the research on that immediately and discovered that Mike was right, but I didn't look for Mercury. And that's got to be true because there was and you got to be, this is a long time ago for Mercury compared to Apollo, right? Pi Square. Okay, my archive server is up. It's not the archive of the videos. That's on YouTube. You can just look on top of the screen right now, on top of the YouTube page, and you'll see. Yeah, what do you see? The playlist page. Go look at the playlist, and you'll see all of Mike's shows that he's ever done on here, all of the drama shows. But this server is my personal server sitting right there on top of the desk, and it's got copies of all the documents that I use for all these presentations. Just Ugly 747. Sorry, dude. 737, 757/67. Those are the birds. Actually, I love the 47 as long as it's configured for no flight engineer station. Two folks need to be up there, and that's all. Anyways, Just Ugly says, good luck, David. I've been watching the Mike Myers A+ video series. I'm done with 1001, middle of 1002. I feel like I'm ready for 1001, so I might take it soon as well. Okay, so you know Mike's mantra, right? Heat and pressure makes diamonds. Schedule it. If you think you're ready right now, schedule it for 2-3 weeks out top, and that will put you in grind mode to make sure you're ready. You start prepping for the next 1 to 2 weeks. Then you do light prep for the final week and then go take it. Because otherwise, what's your motivation? Take it in 6 months. Take it, when I got enough money to buy a voucher. Schedule it. Do it now and make yourself complete it. It's good advice. I follow it myself. Andre says, needs to be a good one. I want to have a shot at the title. Okay. Same challenge. Blah, blah, blah. All right, guys talking together. Trisha Grace talking to David Mueller at 2:20 and change. A wild elbow has appeared. Thank you for the. We use that greeting all over the place. It certainly appears in Discord. I see it on Reddit all the time. Okay, Andre DeGoyer, don't let it go. Total Seminars channel, share it. Wilco. Reading. Sweet. Elbow greets. All right, caught up then. It's good advice, says Andrew. Sorry, I was Andre, and I've morphed that into Andrews. All right, caught up on questions. Let's do notes. So where we've been and what are we doing, or where are we going, I guess let's call it. So last week, September 24th, we installed and used the Clam antivirus software on a Raspberry Pi. Oh, there's a typo. Tough, not fixing it. And then we made a cron job to automate running it on a regular basis. In fact, it was scheduled to run every night. We're doing 2 projects today. One of them, a short, tiny little one that says, let's go review how we did that and then check out the daily logs that were created when Clam AV ran, Clam antivirus. Where we're going today, project 1, we take a final peek at the results of the automated running of Clam antivirus. And then our main project today is to install and use Rocky Linux on a Raspberry Pi. Usually at this point, I put a tutorial link up. There is no tutorial for this. It's one of those deals where information is available. I conglomerated it and I created a video tutorial and a step-by-step tutorial in my notes. So there's a good reason to download the notes. I will, Scott, in that list of links that I gave you, would you post the one that ends in PSA unofficial Rocky Linux Raspberry Pi image? You know what? I'm not going to make you do that. I'm going to do 2 things here. First of all, I'm going to post a link on the chat feed. This is the link that has, if you have enough background, and it doesn't take a lot of background. Let me put a title on that. I got room here. Let's just call this Rocky Linux for RPi. Okay, there's a link there. So there's enough information there that I was able to find everything that I needed, and you posted, okay, so we're even, that's fine. Nothing wrong with having a duplicate. And I'm going to flip up a page here. I have a whole bunch of links today, a zillion links today. And so I made one page with all of them. And I'll just keep referring back to this page over the course of the day. Okay, so here, this source info, not a tutorial. There's a link to Reddit here, the PSA unofficial. And there are, on that page where the person posted his announcement, his PSA, there are 4 links in there, and one of them takes you to where the image files are. And with that, that's enough information to get things going. But again, I've got it all here on my show today. You'll be able to see the actual name of the file, or the actual location of the image file that you're going to need is here on this skiprockylinuxdn.org Rocky Pi. And then in that, on that page, you will see a handful of files, and one of them is this Rocky Pi image.xz. That's the image that we're using today to install Rocky on Linux. And I'm telling you, man, I am so excited about this thing. I installed it. It went like a dream. I started playing with it. The play went like a dream. I had to learn a few things, because there's some differences between that and a Debian distro or an Arch distro. Pardon me. There's some similarities. And then I had to turn it into a project and make some labs on it. But everything I did on it, number 1, happened unbelievably fast. Number 2, worked perfectly. And you know, who needs to say more about that? But I do have more to say. News, tricks, and techniques of the week. So let me bring this back up. I've made a minor change since our announcement from last week. Announcement page, this one, share with nice folks. So on Friday, October 29th, after the show, we're heading over to our unofficial Discord channel. Scott, if you would post the links for that. And I'll post, no, I'm not going to post the announcement. The announcement is here. Scott is now posting 1 or 2 links to the Discord channel. It's unofficial. We don't own it. We don't operate it. It's owned and operated by Jose Braden and some of his moderators, Tulowitz here, and some of the other folks are moderators here. Connect to our server before the 29th so that on the 29th, you can just get right in and get right to it. Because on 29th, right after the show, we're going to have a costume party, a fancy dress party, and there are going to be prizes. So here's the detail. I changed the time on it. It was 4:15 to 5:15, and I decided, now let's just cut the show short by a half an hour. So some of the thank you. Discord link was posted at 2:30. So we got a lot of folks who are up late at night, and that would have kept them up to even much later. So let's take a half an hour ahead of the time. So we're going to play for an hour with costumes and fancy dress from 3:45 Central Time in the US. I don't know if we're October. I don't think we changed time, savings time on that, but I don't know. But whatever it is, it'll be 3:45 my time for 1 hour, 4:45 my time. And at the end of that, just before 4:45, I'm going to announce winners. I am the sole arbitrator of best costume. There is no argument. It's the one I like the best. I don't have any criteria yet. Maybe I'll come up with some, but it's basically just the one that I like the best. Might make me laugh the best, might be a quality issue. You did such an awesome job. I don't know, but just come up with a really good costume. And that means you got to turn up on camera and maybe have a microphone too, so we can talk, and we'll work all those details out as we get closer, but have a camera, have a mic, and join Discord. Use those links that Scott just posted. If you use that link and it says the link has expired, look around on that page. It'll say continue anyways somewhere, or some similar words. So we got fabulous prizes. We're giving away a Pi 4 kit for best. We got a second and third place kit. And yeah, I don't know if you heard the announcement on Monday, but Mike has worked a deal with CompTIA where we're going to be able to give away vouchers. Yes, vouchers, free vouchers. He's going to give one away on each of his shows. He says he's pretty sure that I can give one away on my show. So I'm going to take the one that's intended for my show that day. And assuming this all happens, it starts this Monday. So we should have all those details worked out of whether or not I can do it. And so second place is going to be a voucher. I don't know, maybe that's first place. They're more valuable than a Raspberry Pi kit, right? So we'll figure that out. This may change. And a third prize. I don't know what it's going to be, but 3 places. So please plan on being there on the unofficial Total Discord. One more time, unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. We are going to have a great time. I'm debating real hard between what I'm going to wear, but it's going to be something really good because I love this stuff. Scott's going to do it. When I got the approval from the boss to do this, he said, hey, reminder, send me a link. I think I want to participate. So you guys might get to meet Dudley, Mike's partner in owning the business. He's our CEO. The money guy, he's the one who says, yeah, you can spend $100 on a kit or whatever. So it might be a lot of fun. And he's a costume guy and a medieval guy, an SCA guy. So, all right, so that's that. That's the announcement. Discord. Total Seminars employees are encouraged, mandated to participate, but you are not eligible for prizes. Other stuff in the news, tricks and techniques this week. Windows FX 11. Senor Scott, would you post the link for the Windows FX 11 thing? Windows FX 11 is a Linux that looks and acts like Windows 11. There is a Windows FX 7 and a Windows FX 11. It's got the appropriate emulators and box 86 and wine and all that good stuff. And it will look and act just like Windows 11 so far, because nobody's got a, well, I mean, we've got the betas out there, and the real one comes out in 4 days. But this is really cool. It doesn't need a TPM. So you will be able to run this on any older machine that you have. And it's Linux. So well, here, let me see. Here's some notes that I took on it. Developers taking the opportunity to update the kernel and the desktop environment, it's got an Ubuntu base. You don't care about that. You don't care about that. Desktop environment is KDE. Windows executable support uses Wine 6, so it runs EXEs and MSIs. And man, did I not put it? It's got voice assistants in there. Hardware requirements are documented in the article. How about 2 gigs of RAM is the minimum? Okay, the Windows FX link is up to 235. Thank you, sir. It'll run on 2 gigs. I would expect it to run a lot better, but that's their claim. So, you know, pop this thing on a Raspberry Pi 4. Nope, sorry, it's got to be run on an x86 box. So you need to run it on a traditional Intel computer or virtual machine. Okay, that's it for news, tricks, and techniques. It's going to take us to the project. It's only 36, so let's get questions read. And then we're going to start the project a little early today because it doesn't take long, but the presentation that I built around it does. You know me. Okay. I scrolled somehow. Wait, somebody said test tomorrow and I missed it. David Mueller. I test A+ tomorrow. Good luck, man. Oh, there's what's going on. Now I super scrolled when it wasn't looking. Let me get caught up here. Okay, so I'm back around 212. Red Hat, I've got some black ones. Oh, come on, Andre. That's a Tullowit pun. Shame on you. For shame. Ugly 747. Anybody have a good resource for best use cases for each of the popular distros? I'm very new to Linux. Well, there are some that are designed to be task specific. And anybody else, please fill in here because I don't have answers for all of this. Kali Linux is for pen testers, long and short. Ubuntu, general purpose, home users, small business usage, large business usage, platform for cloud. You can make your own clouds on it using Kubernetes or Docker. And you can make whole recreations of cloud systems. You could create your own AWS style set of servers and things like that in it. Red Hat, #1 most popular corporate big business Linux installation. Raspberry Pi OS, hobbyist. Mint for people who want to transition to Linux but only know Windows and have no experience. Mint is available, by the way, for Mint is actually a desktop, so you can run it on a number of operating systems. Okay, distro watch link for Just Ugly. Okay, thanks. Scott just posted a message for you for Just Ugly for distro watch. So anybody else who's got other things, fill them in. I could do this for an hour, but that's enough to get you started. Distro watch it kind of answers your question. It talks about all the distros out there, who uses them, what they get used for, things like that. Yeah, hello everybody, first time here. Yeah, so I thought I'd seen you before, Just Ugly. Just Ugly, then just quickie background. I'm a former airline pilot. I left the biz a couple of years after 9/11. I got furloughed at 9/11. I went over to Saudi and flew over there, came back here, and I rejoined the airlines briefly when I came back. I went over to flight safety and taught in the Gulf Stream and bailed on that, came back here to Houston, looked at the airlines and said, look, I am just too old. I'm going to be junior forever. If I ever do make captain, I will die a junior captain. And that means I got to live on the road 4 or 5 weeks a year. But when I was flying 7.3s, 7.5 and 7.6. If you speak 747, you may know that you've got to be type rated for different aircraft. And it's the same type rating with differences training for 757 and 767, 75 and 76. Okay, Dave's resume now complete. So welcome, Matt, as well. Nice to see you. We've had a couple other Matts here. Glad to see another one. 215, a welcome to Just Ugly from everybody. 28 more days until the party. That's true. So October 29th, 3:45 my time. Trisha Grace, you mentioned escargot and peanut butter. Yeah, Scott. Scott says, don't encourage me. That's Scott's house specialty, man. I know it. Oh, okay. That's what the nausea thing was. Sorry, the last thing that I'd seen us talk about was the red hat question. Okay. Oh, that's a new name for me, to be sure. I always laugh when Scott and Mike do the Monday, Wednesday show, and they have tough times pronouncing names. Chisitsang, Taba. I hope I got that right. I apologize if I've mangled that. But welcome. Very nice to see you here. Oh, good. The turnout's getting really nice. Thanks. We're going to have a good show. Patricia Grace, David Mueller is wowing. Patricia Grace is wowing David Mueller. There we go. Okay, so David Mueller is testing A+ tomorrow. Good luck. I presume you're following Mike's advice now and into relax mode. Calm down, let it all stew in your mind, and go in nice and fresh tomorrow after a good night's sleep. And then when you're done, let it all out. Just Ugly. Good luck, David. Been watching Mike Myers A+ video series done with thousands. Okay, so he posted that earlier. Oh, okay. I read a lot of this before. I just missed a few, so it's good to go back and catch some of these. Reading questions. Too much Pokemon. Yeah, I know. That's why I said that. What I said here, give us your sweet tea recipe. I don't drink. Let me go back for a second here because I'm ahead of myself. Wow, I super scrolled. 235. This is okay. I did that. Scott posted the link for Windows FX 11. Oh goodness, I really super scrolled. I got to go back a good way. Sorry about that. Okay, there's the distro watch. There's the Discord post. It is delicious. I'm reading questions. This site's a huge reach. Goodness, I'm really having to go back. Sorry, guys. There we go. I'm all the way back at 223. But reading rapidly here. Good advice. There we go. That was where I left off, I think. Do you have a good resource for best cases? Yeah, we did that. So that DistroWatch is a great site for that. Elbo's going to try Pokemon Go if I decide to fork out for unlimited data. Yeah. I don't know how much kind of that sucks, but it's got to be some. Let's see. Andrew gave you some good info at 227. Just Ugly 74. Source info for the starting info on today's project. Scott posted at 227. And he posted the link for my Rocky Linux image files. Same time, 227. Elbow, by the way, hoping to make another video fairly soon. Reality Tech. Elbow, let's make sure we get connected on Discord, and I will add a plug for you along with Andrew's plug. And I haven't plugged Tullowit's site in a while. I got to get that on my plug list. And we'll do those every week that you guys do updates on your sites. So Tullowit, same thing. I've got yours bookmarked somewhere on my system. I'll add that to the plug list. Okay, passing 228. And by the way, you guys, Tullowit and Elbow, you are welcome to. Oh, you can't. Never mind. Never mind. Ahoy says Sunny and Mango. There you go. I never know if it's Sunny or if it's Mango who's checking in with us, or if you're both there. Vuber, nice to see you. And that's a first time name, if I recall. Welcome to the show. The recipe for this The missus uses these giant tea bags, and this is Houston, Texas, where it's hot. So she puts these 2 giant tea bags in a big 2-gallon jug and puts them outside for 6 hours or so. And they roast. When I go out and get it, it's actually burning hot. And it's a big glass, clear glass container. And we come in, toss it, put it in the fridge. And I don't know the brand or anything like that. But again, it's these gigantic bags. Ice. And I've been rocking this diet hard. I am seriously doing hardcore keto, and I am losing weight faster than I have ever lost weight in my life. I'm on my way down. You'll see me at 180, 190 in 6 months, pounds, not kilos. I put fresh squeezed lemon juice in there, and I use some diet friendly sweetener in there. So it's sweet, but it's not sweet tea. It doesn't have sugar in it. And it is delicious. 1/3 of a cup of ice. Hello, all. Mr. Rush. Mr. S is here. Greetings. Andrew, Scott's going to share. Tullowit is talking. Passing 2:30. Discord link. Scott posted at 2:30, as we said. Our matey, says Tullowit. And okay, there's the Scott at 2:31. Scott posted the link for Distro Watch. Go and learn about various distros. Great homebody girl. Oh, I'll still be at work. Just leaving work. Well, it runs for an hour. And you got a phone. No, don't do it on your phone in costume. I costume every year. We costume at work. We are big fans of it. And I have a long commute to work. Average traffic, 1 hour and 15 each way. And so I typically have on some kind of clothing, and I'll have something for my head, and usually a hat and glasses, something like that. But for the drive down, I have an old Richard Nixon rubber mask that's a whole head model, and I drive down in that, and it gets so much attention. Same thing when I drive home. It's one of my favorite costumes. I might pop that on one day just for a couple of moments here. It's hot. My head got big. It's hard to see out of. Okay, reading questions anytime. Thank you. Just okay. I'm thinking just before I read Ubuntu and Kali are what I'm going to focus on for now. Okay, I think Ubuntu is a great version of Linux to learn on. If I were going to teach intro Linux right now, well, frankly, I'd probably teach Raspberry Pi and then move people to Ubuntu. But if that weren't an option for me, I'd start them on Ubuntu. CompTIA, says Sunny and Mango. Okay. Xerxes78 is here. Hey guys, popping in to say hi, banging away on Sec Plus. Outstanding. I prefer Raspberry Pi over the vouchers. There's an interesting thing. I might take a poll on that. I'm going to do that next week. And I'll start one on Discord tonight, unofficial poll. We'll do an unofficial poll next week. What's the better first prize, a voucher or the Raspberry Pi kit? Good thought, Andre. Hi, Andre. Thank you. Okay, you guys are talking to each other. School pays for up to 2 vouchers per CompTIA cert class. Nice. Tell Windows to stop breaking print servers. Every time Microsoft comes up with a file or a patch fix, the one thing that they seem to screw up fairly consistently is printing, huh? You should see the nightmares that Scott has on his computer, his Windows computer at our offices. I don't think he has ever successfully printed from that computer. And we have all banged our head against the wall and sat down, let me do this, you're doing this wrong. And it never works. It's there. All right, reading questions, passing 235, Andrew Gore, Linux Windows 11. Yeah, definitely look for it. Yeah, Scott posted the link at 235. Andre, it's actually a link to an article, and then you can get the information from there. SCAA Tullowit, where retired medieval recreators go when they retire, sort of like AARP. Andrew Hutz, if you want to do it that way, I'd use Ubuntu on bare metal and run Kali through a VM. Okay, that's an opinion. I would run, look, if you want to, I would run Kali bare metal, but I would do it on Raspberry Pi. It's fully functional on Raspberry Pi. It's full performance, and you can find Kali for Raspberry Pi. It's exactly the same Kali as the one for x86, even the same default passwords and everything. And what'd you spend? 40 bucks, 50 bucks, and you have a dedicated Kali machine. Linux, Windows, unlimited power. All right. I like the way you write, man. Passing 236. Tell it 4 days to Windows 11. Are you prepared? No, I don't have TPM2. Have you duct taped the glass? Stored 2 weeks. Yep, we're prepping. Good. I'm glad you hopped in too. Yep, you found the right crowd. Crazy Homebody. I use Ubuntu on one of my computers and CentOS for class. We're going to talk about CentOS today. So good that you brought that up, Crazy. Give us your sweet tea recipe. I did. Patricia Grace, if you were a big fan of Win 7, try Q40S. Worked on keep an old Dell Mini netbook. Notes, Q40S pen, because I don't know about that. Q40. I assume that's a 0 and not an O. Oh, Q4OS probably. Okay. Came out in the fourth quarter. That cracked me up. Xerxes does a more powerful processor and RAM affect running Kali Linux programs, or do they run they run great on the Raspberry Pi? The first time I ran it on a 2 gig Pi 4. It's got 2 gigs of RAM. Worked like a dream. We've done a presentation on installing Kali here. Let me give you the link on that. How to install Kali Linux on a Raspberry Pi. Did we do that in 2020 or 2024? Doing quick research here. Stand by. Kali 9. James answer Kali installation. There we go. Install Kali. All right, I'm going to put a link up for the Raspberry Pi episode where we installed Kali Linux. At the current time, looks like about 2:51 local time. We did that episode back on November 13th of 2020. Just click that handy dandy link and you are in biz. Reading questions. Yes, runs fine. I would do it on a 4 gig these days if I were doing it. If I'm doing it just to learn, works great on the 2 gig. If I was actually going to use it to do something real in my home or for a business, I'd probably do it on 4 gig model. You don't need the 8. Unless you're saving. Well, even if you're saving, you're going to save that to your SD or to your storage, your external storage device. So cool. Elbow, do pen testers focus more on how well it writes or on the build quality of the pen itself? God, you sucked me into that. Punch in with Michael Smyer sometime. He's one of those pen heads, quill pens and super high quality pens and high quality ink. And I bought a new pen for $600 and a bottle of ink for another 150. I got enough ink in there to write 4 letters. I've set a group policy to stay on 21 hours, says Patricia Grace. Thank you very much, until I can eventually move all systems to a Linux flavor. Yeah, you and Alice, who's been invisible for a little while. Hope she comes back soon. Oh, 21H1. Okay. Scott went back to the office this week and fired up his computer for the first time since shutdown, and he got this big error message on it that says your operating system is deprecated, please update. So we checked the build on it. He was running 1909. So I hope he's got that upgrading now, or upgraded to 21H1. Andre says it runs fine on Raspberry. Good. I love that you guys are adding the slang Z into Raspberry. Don't do like I do and study all night. Hey, David Zentera, I love to study at night. I do it almost every night. Reading questions, passing 242, people talking to each other. If I see you talking to somebody else, I'm not even reading. I'm just rolling by because I want to get started on things here. Xerxes talking to Andre, and we're talking to Patricia. Lakota. Greetings, Lakota. I think I've seen your name once before, but it's been a while or it's been infrequent. And if not, if your first time here, then welcome. What's the point of having a back? This is at time 244. Lakota says, what's the point of having a backup if that when you get a virus or malware, the only way to be sure your PC is safe is to disable and delete the system restores? How do you even have a safe backup? Well, let's talk about what you mean by backup, right? So if you're backing up your data daily, like you should be, either full backups or incremental backups or differential backups, and you are also doing virus scanning daily, like you should, you're going to catch the virus the day or the day after that it happened. And you're going to be able to go back and you wipe out the virus, you clean out your system, and then you go back and restore from the backups to the point prior to having been infected. And that's true of system restores, and that's true of traditional data backups. It's really straightforward, but it requires discipline on all of our parts. We've got to be doing those backups. Do a cloud backup. There's plenty of folks out there who sell affordable backup services. It takes forever to get that first backup done. You might have a huge hard drive, but big deal. It's going on in the background. And then once it's done, the dailies, it happens real time, the updates. And you can always go back and to a point, again, prior to the infection. And you got to be virus scanning every day. Fact checked. Hello, now I have to work on a new video for my channel. Yep. Yeah, it's been a while. I've checked yours 2 weeks ago. I think was the last time I checked it. Andre's got Kali VM running on my desktop as well. Okay. You are one, we are many. Okay, good. You're both there. Hi, Sunny. Hi, Mango. Vubra, I'm also doing keto. Lost 5 pounds in a week. Oh, good for you, man. I'm doing 2.5. And that's all I want. I figure it took years to build up. I packed up, I topped out at about 280 beginning of COVID. And then COVID, without doing anything special, took me down into the mid 240s. And then I plateaued. And so I watched it. And then my father passed away 5 weeks ago or so. And he was right up there with me. And some other folks that I know are having large health issues who are large. And I said, you know what? I'm done with this crap. Let's just get serious about it. And I'm heading down now, getting back to college weight. When I started the freshman 15 that turned into the freshman 100. Then I fill a third 1 tea and okay. So yeah, you got to have a little bit of ice to crunch on, right? My channel is safe for the whole family, guaranteed to help you lose weight, improve your complexion, grows your hair back. Don't forget, has nothing to do with tech except using tech to record and edit. Yep. I'll be at 180 in a few weeks as well, with a slightly different symbol than the one I'm targeting. Ubuntu is the iPhone of Linux distros. Yeah, again, for home users. Red Hat for corporate, especially for big iron, big corporate. Man, lots of good questions today. Thanks, everybody. Passing 2:48. I got 5 minutes worth of questions to catch up. Or yeah, that'll work fine. I'm going to start on top of the hour, whether I finish these questions or not. I'll get back to them at the end of the thing. I'm not reading that, Andre. Reading questions. Yeah, right. Yeah, Scott too. He's forced to read it, but he's not going to respond. I'm going to write a children's fairy tale book called The Printer That Worked. Simply worked. Very good. No provocation, just facts. Facts are just solidified opinion, my friend. I think I got the quote wrong. Facts are just opinions solidified. There we go. And I Zuber scrolled. Man, there we go. Okay, I'm at 250. That'd be a fairy tale. I had some experience with Kali for ARM and compatibility. Oh, yeah, bad experiences. Dude, we're co-workers, man. Get with me. Let's work on it together, because I have nothing but perfectly working and regularly updating. Man, that's the crime with Kali. They update so much, so frequently. Reading Nessus, David Rush posted the old link At 252. Arm, 8 arm joke. Seriously? Come on, Tully, you're better than that. We got a repair today, says Andrew. MacBook turns on just fine, forgets to turn on the screen as well. Got to get out that weird screwdriver. I didn't realize you guys were fixing Macs. Do you do the incantation first and dance naked before a fire during a full moon? I understand. Mango passed Sec Plus. Sunny didn't make it yet. Oh, I'm sorry. But you guys are good study buddies. Mango and Sunny will study again together, and Sunny will nail it on the next attempt. But I'm so sorry. Now, Mike and I have a different philosophy on this. Take that paper. Mike says you don't need the paper. I say you do. Take that paper that shows the sub-objectives, the subdomains that you missed. Study those. Do a once over on all the other stuff. Do it all in a week. Everything you can learn in a week, you can forget in a week. And then test again while all that material is sharp. If you were close, if you're far, you might have to, if you missed it by a lot, then you might have to do it a little further. Where can I Google what is a pen test? What you have to do is dial 411 and ask them for the number for information. And then with the number they give you, ask them where to Google for Google. Vuber Elbow is talking elbow, and pen testing is, it was a joke, Tullowit. Where can I Google? Shame on you. Mr. S, can you run a remote desktop on this or a virtual machine? What do you mean this, Mr. S? You can run remote desktop to most operating systems as long as that operating system has a graphical interface. So, I do that all the time here, of course, to Raspberry Pi. I use RHEL VNC as the client. They use RHEL VNC as the server. We use Type VNC on Windows and on other distros of Linux. There's other VNCs out there. There's RDP for Windows. So that's one way to do things. You can run a remote desktop to an operating system that's running within a virtual machine. That works fine. Whatever kind of OS you have, use the appropriate remote desktop protocol and you're good. Excuse me. Yes, pen test is penetration testing. That means your company hires somebody, a company hires somebody that says, please help us identify our vulnerabilities, and then we'll hire somebody else to help us fix them, resolve them. Sick. Yeah, it's a career that a lot of people pursue these days, David Mueller. Jernigan has retracted 2 of his messages. Did you do the same thing I do? Do you have typos? My pleasure, Lakota. Scott, pen testing is used to assess the security of an organization. Pen testers look for a weakness, yeah. And there's also related folks, cybersecurity analysts. It's a very wide field. Pen testers help vulnerabilities. They select good pens too. Shame on you. Been around, says David Mueller at 258. Computers for most of my life. Thanks, Dad. But I was more of a user than a troubleshooter. Just now getting into the use of the acronyms and shorthand. Okay. It's a fun thing. We all love it here as a troubleshooter. Sure. I'm getting close to the end here, I hope. No, it's secret, just ugly 7-4. You have to know somebody who's willing to mentor you, and eventually when you achieve the appropriate level of Mac teardown, then they will teach you the incantation. However, Macs aren't in CompTIA much, and certainly fixing Macs, especially the hardware, is not in CompTIA at all. Just some functionality about the OS, and that's all in A+. But to know if they're nice, oh good. How are we done with this pen thing? Let it go. Joey Quetzal's here. I made it. Why are recruited trying to underpay me with no benefits? Because they can. Just say no, right? If everybody says no, they will have to bring it up to reasonable standards. And yeah, Scott said the same thing. Sucker born every minute. Tell it, he said, well, I can Google it. Oh, wow. I thought where? Okay. Okay. Of course, they try to lowball you first. All right, I try to lead with pay and bennies. Oh, don't do that. Well, do whatever works for you. But when you go into an employer and your first question is, how much time do I get off? How much pay can I get? How much sick time do I get? Can I leave early? They're done with you in their mind, right? Let's pursue information about the job, tell them what you can provide, and then learn about the bennies later in the process. All right, I'm caught up. I'm going to start a project. This one's quick. I want to do this ever so briefly because I got it set up. Project number one is just to do a quick review of what we did with our project last week. We installed Clam antivirus, and then we set up a cron job so that it will run every night. And let me get you looking at a computer. Email pie looks like a good one. And password Raspberry. Und then we share it so you can see this thing. My background's German. I can do that. Oh, good Lord. I almost hit that thing. All right, so this is our email server that we created last week. And we created a script in the root folder, not the root top of the structure, but in a folder called root. So let's take a look at the contents of that script real quick. We're going to stand by. Okay, there we go. Click in here. I got to click over here. I'm just going to copy this. It's easier. Ah, what are you doing? Okay, so we created a script called scanvirus.sh, and we have the cron job run this thing every night at midnight. I think sudo gags with cat. No, it doesn't. All right, so it was a short little script. It's a bash script, and it creates a variable called log name, and the value of that is a path that used bash variables in it. Very clever thing to do. So the name of the log that we're going to create is in a folder called var log clamav, and then the actual file name is called clamav followed by year, month, and day .log. Then we made another variable called dir to scan, and here we set up a value of a directory that can be scanned. We could also listed other directories in here, space, between quotes, set another directory. We could say scan from the root on down. That's time consuming. And then we use those two variables in this line. Clam scan, that runs the antivirus program reiteratively. So from whatever directory we specify on down. And then we said, okay, and here's where to scan and here's where to log it. So the log is in var log clamav. Well, it's in var log clamav. So let's go over to that folder real quick. CD var log clamav, and we'll do an ls here. And here's all the logs that it's created over the last week. Fresh clam is not one of the logs it created, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's been 7 days since we started this project. It's made 7 logs, and let's just take a look at one. And I want to do that because I want to teach you something here that's really kind of cool. It's tough to demonstrate in this folder, but let's say you got 2 files that have very, very long names and they have spaces in them, and it's just a royal pain to type. So here's something that you can do. This works in Windows as well in the command line. If we say something like sudo cat, and then we just type in the name of the file, clamav-2021-09. Oh, wait, how about 10-1? That's the only one that starts with 10. I'm going to hit the tab key right now. And the system looks in this folder and says, oh, I see only one file that starts to meet that criteria, and it fills in the rest of it for you. Bam. And there's the log. So maybe I got a better folder with more stuff in it that's more useful. Let's go look in Etsy real quick. You can see it scanned the directory, shows me the directory that it scanned in here, and didn't find any infected files. Not surprising. I don't do much with this machine, and it's going to get, I don't know what's going to happen to it after today. We'll see. Because I'm done with the email project right now, so we're going to probably dedicate that SD card to a new project. Let me head over to Etsy real quick, do an LS. Okay, here's a file in here, machine-ID. It seems to be the only file that starts with MAC. So let's say I want to LS it, LS MAC tab. Nothing else starts with MAC. So it says, I found the only one that you have in mind. What happens if I just do MA? I see machine and magic. Nothing happens. I'm banging on the tab key. Oh, it's showing me all the things that start with MA. Get the idea? That tab key is really useful. Michael has used it all the time. He showed me it in the past, and I've kind of sort of used it sometimes. And then this week I found a lot of good use for it, and I am a convert now. All right, I'm done with this thing. I'm using this same Raspberry Pi to do today's other project on. So I'm going to do a shutdown on here. Log out, shut down. It's going to break this connection. Bam, done. Stop sharing. And that's going to take about 30 seconds to shut down. And then I'm going to pull the micro SD card out of there. And we're going to talk about Rocky Linux. Oh, I got to do this. Get out of there. Okay, that's a micro SD card. I can pull this. Oops, got to turn the power off. Pull you, put you over there, put you in. Reaching forward, plugging in an SD card, and hit the power button. All right, that's happening. So back to notes. All right, that took a little longer than I wanted it to. We're not going to finish this today, but we're going to at least finish the install and get you started. And who knows? Because again, this goes pretty fast. I'll just back off on some of the background stuff. So Rocky Linux. First of all, just to get you prepped hardware-wise, works on Raspberry Pi 3s and Raspberry Pi 4s. It needs a CPU that's a 64-bit CPU. The CPUs in Raspberry Pis previous to that were 32s. The more RAM, the better. You can do it on a 1 gig version of a 3 or the original 4B, but 2's better, more is better. I got this running on a 4, but again, it worked fine. I tested it on a 2. I didn't test it on a 1 gig model. I'm taking it on faith. You just need a basic Raspberry Pi setup, power supply, wired or wireless connection. You don't even need that to do the essential install. If you want to operate headlessly, you're going to need a wired or wireless connection. So you can connect to it with PuTTY or SSH. This is a command line installation. And you can add a desktop later. Or, of course, you could use a regular keyboard and monitor. Again, it's command line. You don't need a mouse for this. You need a micro SD card. I'm using a 32 gig on here. Are you ready for this? You can install what we're doing today on a 4 gig card. I wouldn't do it if I were doing production or trying to learn. I'd start with something that's at least 8, but it'll install absolutely fine. The operating system itself is under 400 megabytes. And this is basically Red Hat, man. This is incredible. All right, I'll get more into that as we go. Software that you'll need. Most of you have this already from previous shows, but if you don't have it, Scott, if you would post the links for 7-zip and Win32 Disk Imager, I'm going to put them up on a slide real quick. Links for the show. Very good. Share. You're going to burn an image. Oh, you need putty as well. Did I put that up here? No, putty.org to get putty. But you don't need putty. You can also use the native SSH that's in Mac or in Windows. So that's why I didn't put it up here. So you can get 7-zip from 7-zip.org. You can get Win32 Disk Imager from win32diskimager.org. And that's the only software that you need. Hopefully you have that already. Install those both when you down them. Scott posted them at 3:14. Thank you very much, Scott. Here comes my requisite hiccups. I don't hiccup all day or during any other time. And I think it probably has something to do with the amount of carbon dioxide that I surround myself here when I'm talking and yelling and doing my thing. But there we go, because that's the software that you need for this. And of course, you're going to need the image. And I'll put that slide back up again real quick, just to remind you where to get the image. Scott posted that back earlier. Sharing, there we go. That's the share button. Click, click. So you can get the image file that you need from here. skiprocky.linuxdn.org, whack Rocky Pi. And you're going to see a bunch of files in there, one that ends in XZ. Let me show you that folder and you'll see what it looks like. Riley, you will. Folder, share. Looking for my folder. There it is, rockylinux.org. There they are. Okay, I can share that with you. Share screen, pick this. So when you go to that linuxdn.org folder, this is what's in it. And there's only two things we care about in here. This Rocky RPi 8.4, whatever date that is, .xz. You should also read this README file. Let me bring it up real quick. And there's two pieces of information here that are really useful for you. These are all documented in my archive notes. You can get that, but know that the default username for this distro, for this image, is Rocky, and the default password is Rocky Linux. One word, no spaces, lowercase. All right, so the process, are we doing the process or am I doing history here next? Okay, now a little bit of just a bit of background. So why are we doing this? Why am I not doing the RetroPie? Well, it's because of Scott and it's because of CompTIA. Mike alluded to the fact that we got a copy of the, whenever it's going to release, we have no idea on this, next version of A+. And cool, we got it. We looked it over. We made our internal comments about it. Oh, I can't believe that's there. Oh, I can't believe that's not there, kind of thing. And cool. And then the phone rang. We had a theory and an idea on when things were going to happen based on the way CompTIA has done things in the past. And we were in for a rude awakening. And so I have a regular recurring job within the company. And that's whenever we get objectives from CompTIA for a new exam, I take those objectives and I map them against stuff that we've written in the previous generation book. So we can figure out what we need to add, what we need to tweak, what we need to delete. Well, there's two courses here, right? We got 10 or two exams, 1001, 1002. The book is 1,300 pages, and that is called Drop Whatever You're Doing, All Hands on Deck. So the second I got that, I just started beating the drum, and there was no opportunity to pursue RetroPie, and there won't be for a couple of weeks. I'm going to work on this for 2 to 3 weeks. It's a huge project. So there it is. So I picked a project yesterday morning. I was so busy, and I finally said, like, I got to stop and get something ready for drama. And I looked through my list of things, and oh, hey, this Rocky thing was in the news just a couple days ago. Let me take a look at that. And then I went back to work and started working on that project last night. And wow, it's just good. It's fast, it's easy, it works, it's incredible. And there's more reasons to use it than that. So first of all, there is a joy. I hope that you find this true in playing with a new operating system, finding out what's good, finding out what's bad, finding out what's great, finding out what sucks. We all know the great ones that we morphed to. XP was great. 7 was great. 10 was great. And then there were the ones that were horrible. Windows 8, Vista, 95. Blech. And so it is with Linux distros. And I played with a lot of Linux distros. I played with the great grandfather of the one we're playing with today. I loved it. It was Mandrake way back a bazillion years ago. That was called Roll Your Own. You got the pieces and you had to make your own operating system out of version of Linux. Well, I had a great joy playing with this, and I am qualifying this as great. And it's really, really good, all of its benefits. And so it's in partially that spirit that we're going to have to install this new version on there, something for you to play with. Also, some of you have asked about in the past Linux Plus. Well, you can't just speak Debian. You can't just speak Raspberry Pi OS, which is a Debian distro. You can't just speak Arch. You've got to have a smattering of solid knowledge of a couple of the major distros, Arch, Debian, and Arch and Debian is when you get down to it. But operating systems like Red Hat, they are their own thing. They use the Linux core, and then they write a lot of stuff that looks and acts like some of the other mainline OSs, but they do some things very differently. And there are questions about this kind of stuff on Linux Plus. You have to know some Red Hat. Well, we're not going to do Red Hat, but we're going to do Rocky, which is a bug for bug, feature for feature, software for software clone of Red Hat. So if you know this, you can do Red Hat. And when you go to the job sites and you're looking for at Linux administrator jobs, there's only a handful of ones that people are looking to administer. If you're working in the cloud, then you're going to play with Ubuntu and Debian. If you're working in the corporate environment, small corporate, Ubuntu, some large corporate, but most large corporate, Red Hat. So it's practical for real world. It's practical for Linux Plus. It's practical because it's a very good flavor of Linux. So I love it. I really love it. I give it 2 thumbs up. It's fast. It takes up very little storage space. The packages that I played with are small. And some of you who've taken Security Plus have run into the term secure operating system and SE Linux. This is a secure operating system. It is a version of SE Secure Linux. So quick background. Red Hat is its own distro. It's the most popular distro of Linux used in the large corporate environment. It's stable, it's robust, it's secure. And I mentioned that secure, it's not just an adjective, it is a qualification that is achieved. It is secure Linux, it's SE Linux. Good for positions, I did all that stuff. Okay, it's one of the earliest surviving distros of Linux. It's not a fork of Arch or Debian, it's its own thing. And Rocky is what they call a downstream partner or clone of Red Hat. And what that means is when Red Hat comes up with files, patches, and fixes, they will work in a downstream distribution. So Rocky doesn't have to find their own bugs and problems and watch the technology every day. They wait for Red Hat to do that for them, and then they use their patches. They may have to port it for an ARM system a little bit, but typically not. So there has been 2 downstream partners for Red Hat for years. Fedora, right? Red Hat. And then if you see Fedora, it's a picture of a red fedora. And CentOS, C-E-N-T-O-S. Somebody here said they were using CentOS. And CentOS made a big change early this year. They changed their support date cutoff from 2029 to the end of 2021. They've changed their update frequency from regularly scheduled updates to rolling updates, continuous updates. Well, those two things and a couple of other decisions that they made. Oh, and the other big decision, they said, we're not going to be a downstream partner anymore. We're going to be our own distro now. We'll do our own development. We'll do our own files, patches, and fixes. Well, that ticked off a lot of their customer base. Now, back to the beginning, Red Hat and Fedora, same company, same product. The only difference between the two, Red Hat is paid for. Fedora is free to anybody. Red Hat, what do you pay for? You're not paying for the OS, you pay for support. Fedora, you get no support with them. If you install it in your company, you use it, and something goes wrong, you can't call up the Red Hat folks and say, hey, I got a problem here. So CentOS was a downstream, owned and operated by a different organization, but effectively the same thing as Fedora. So the distro of Rocky that we're using today, they took Red Hat and they ported it from x86 to ARM64. It's called an AArch64 port. AArch means ARM architecture. It's a 64-bit operating system. It's running version 8.4, same as Red Hat. Makes sense, right? Red Hat is RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. They call it RHEL 8, and Rocky is, and they run 8.4. Rocky is 8.4. They call their distribution Green Obsidian. Every time a Linux distro comes out, it gets a name. Not going to get into all that. Oh, but I do want to show you this. This is cool. Things that came from Red Hat. Remember, Red Hat is its own distro, so people develop off of it. Share, click, do this, and click that. So here's Red Hat, and here's all, I know you can't see it yet, sit tight. Here's all the distros that have been forked and developed from Red Hat. So some of these are long gone right now. SCO Unix, don't forget to, yeah, okay, thanks. So SCO Unix came out of here, and Licorice, and there's Mandrake that I used to play with. OpenSLS. I saw in here when I was looking at this last night, Rocky. And if I look real hard, I'll probably find it. And CentOS is in here. There's CentOS. You get the idea. And the fact that these are above or below doesn't mean anything. It's just the way they chose to do the drawing. So a lot of life, a lot of distros and sub distros and forks, they call them, have come from Red Hat. That graphic is in the downloadables. All right, none of that, enough of that nonsense. Let's just get into the business now. I got lots of other things to talk about it. You can read about it if you download the archive documents. I will mention that operating systems for Linux come in two flavors: server versions, which strip out graphical user interfaces and client-oriented stuff, and then workstation versions of them that obviously have those things in them. So we're working with a server base installation that's command line only. It's very easy to add in a graphical user interface, a desktop, and things like that. I always cheat, even when I'm building a server, when I'm doing it for you guys, I do the client version so you can see all the pretty graphics and things like that. All right, the install process. Number one, go to that skip Rocky linuxdn.org Rocky Pi site. Download the XZ file. Now we mentioned that you're going to need 7-zip. So what you do is you browse to that XZ file. I'm looking at a different camera. No, everything is on the left side of my screen. My camera is on the right side of the screen. Sorry about that. I can move that over up a little bit, but it screws up the rest of my setup. I apologize. Anyways, so browse now using Windows Explorer. When you install WinZip, Win7-zip, one more time, 7-zip into your computer, it integrates it into File Explorer. So you use File Explorer, you browse to wherever you saved that or downloaded that XZ file, you right click, and there will be an option in 7-zip to expand or extract the file. So you extract the file, wherever make you happy. It's just going to be one file. It's going to be the same name as the one that you downloaded, except it won't have an XZ extension. So now we've got an image file that's ready to burn. And we mentioned that you want to download Win32 Disk Imager from win32diskimager.org. And you're going to install and run that program. And now you take your handy dandy, shiny, easy to see. Oh, put it right up against the Raspberry Pi. It's fuzzy with that focus, but plug that into a disk, a micro SD slot in your laptop, or an adapter, a USB adapter, or whatever. Same computer that has this image on it. And then you run the Win32 Disk Imager. Let me show you. Yeah, I can show you on this one. Okay, good. That turned on. Let me launch my disk imager, Win32. Oh, stop it. All the folders are opening up from that card I just put in there. Cancel that, do this. All right, now let me run Win32 disk imager. Yes, and then I'll share it with you. There it is. Share. I know, I'm looking down. That's how it goes. Okay, so here's my disk imager. And all I have to do is browse for the extracted image file. I put it in this folder. There's the image file. Open it. And then I select the device that I want to write it to. That thing's a G drive that I just put it in. And then you write to it. That will copy. So read this, do two things really carefully here. Make sure you don't pick your C drive or whatever Windows drive or that you're running your operating system on. And then if you read, what happens is it reads whatever's on this hard drive and saves it to this file. If you write, you can see if you hover over it, it says it will write data from the image file to the device. So click this thing and it will write, and it takes less than 5 minutes to write this image. I've been doing a lot of image stuff with Raspberry Pi operating systems over the last, well, year plus. And the last couple months, they have taken an hour to do everything from the time I start burning the image to the time that I'm ready to use the image and doing all the updates and upgrades. I'm talking about an hour. This process took less than 20 minutes for everything, updates, upgrades, and whatever. All right, while that's burning, prep a Pi. All you got to do is plug in your monitor or your network interface cards. Don't plug in power to it yet. We hold that off until the very end. Hook up your monitor if you need to, whatever. Hook up keyboards and not mice, but keyboards if you need to, or again, if you're going to go remotely, it's the way we're going to do it here. And it's all prepped. The burn is now done. You take your card, your micro SD card, you pop it in the micro SD slot, and then you hit power, plug it in or use a power switch if that's what you do. That's what I do on my machine. And it'll boot up fast. It looks like it auto resizes to max out your card, but if it doesn't, that's literally a 10-second job that I'll show you how to do. And bam, you're ready to go. You're going to be sitting at the login prompt if you are sitting at, if you hooked up to a monitor and a keyboard. If you didn't, then what you're going to have to do is use one of the many scan packages, IP address scanners that we've talked about in these classes. Install Nmap or ZenMap in Windows or in a Linux machine. Install Angry IP Scanner or Advanced IP Scanner in your workstation and do a scan. And whatever you got to do, you got to find out the IP address. And then this is really cool. Now I'm going to take you into it. We're going to log into it. I'm going to run PuTTY because I learned something about PuTTY yesterday that will enable you to be able to actually see what's going on when I'm doing PuTTY. I never realized how small that is when I put it on the screen. Sorry about that in the past, but problem solved. 192, 168, 1.105. Should be booted up, but I haven't hit the enter key yet here to find out. 105. Yeah, there it is. It's up and running. So we hit the enter key, buzz, buzz, grind, grind. And I will take you to this screen and we'll do everything from here. Share, putty, fool. Let's try that again. All right, there we go. So I'm going to log in according to that README file as Rocky, lowercase, and it's a password, so you're not going to see it as I type it in. ROCKYLIN. I'm not sure I pressed the N hard enough. ROCKYLINUX. This thing doesn't like when I backspace. Gonna make me do it again. ROCKY. Damn it. LINUX. There we go. Okay, I'm in. Okay, so this looks like every other flavor of Linux. Couple differences here. First of all, I'm in my home folder and I can see that just because of the tilde here. It doesn't show the path of the folder, the full path of the folder that you're in. Show you what I mean. I'm gonna go to another folder here. Oh. Just going to var. Yeah, that time it did show, but when it gets long paths, it doesn't show the whole path. The command, the technique for just typing CD with no parameters takes you back to your home directory. I know I'm in my home directory because I see the tilde, and if I type pwd, print working directory, present working directory, it shows me that I'm in home Rocky. And unlike Debian, there are no default folders in here. There's just a README file. Let's take a look at that README file. Everything is case sensitive with this distro, just like all distros. Cat README. And it tells me a couple important things. If it's not already done, I can expand the file system to max out whatever storage device I'm using here by just running this command, sudo rootfs-command. And there's a reminder in here about the default password and account name. But of course, you wouldn't know that until you actually got logged in. So it's a neat README, but doesn't think. Look at this. Requires a 4 gig or larger storage device to serve as your disk. I just knocked out by that. And here's what we were talking about, that it's an A arch. All right, so it's got basic Linux stuff in here. Back to project, back to my notes. Okay, that's up here so you can see my lovely face. Apply power to the Pi, wait 3 minutes, log in. We talked about the defaults. Oh, the default name of the server is called localhost. That can be changed, of course. Default username we saw is Rocky and Rocky Linux. Now, if you want to check what version that you're running on here, there are 4 ways to do it. They all do exactly the same thing. We cat a file in the etc folder called Rocky Release. Okay, you're on Rocky Linux release 8.4. It's called Green Obsidian. Read my downloadable notes for the other 3 methods. They'll come up with exactly the same information. However, there is another method here. Host name, is it CTL? Yeah, CTL. And that gives you a little more information that may be useful if you're ever troubleshooting or digging deep into the guts here. So hostname CTL, and that command works on a lot of Linux distros. Try that on yours sometimes. Okay, we look at the README file. Now, if you've been playing with Ubuntu and you've been playing with Raspberry Pi OS and Debian distros, we're used to installing packages with a program, called apt or apt-get. Apt doesn't exist in this distro. There are 3 different package installers. One's called RPM. Sorry, I had a thing there. There we go. Which is still around, but we don't use it much anymore. Packages that are installed as what they call .rpm packages are installed using the RPM program. We would say something, for instance, like, damn it, sorry, rats. I'm sorry, I mangled my notes here, going back and forth between two screens. RPM. There we go. Okay, I'm in the right place now. Come over here. So if I were going to install an RPM package, I would use the RPM program, probably with sudo RPM, whatever the name of the package is, vim.rpm. And the problem with RPM is it's either got to be a local copy of the RPM package, or you have to put in a path to wherever it is. So if it's remote, it might be sudo RPM https://coolplace.com whack installable RPMs, and then the name of the RPM file, vim.rpm. So that's old. It's still around, but it's not the best way to go. The next improvement was a package installer called Yum. And by the way, if you're taking Linux Plus, you got to know this stuff. Yum is yellow thing. I don't remember what it stands for. Do I want to look for that? No, I don't care. You'll find it in my notes. And it kind of works a little bit like apt or apt-get. It's got lots of features to it. It understands how to look for files in a repository. But Yum is very, very old, and so it was updated. We still use Yum, but we now use a package over top of it called DNF. Secretly, it's DNF Yum, and DNF stands for dandified. We took Yum and made it dandy. And I'm going to use a DNF installation here in just a couple moments. Yellow updater modified. That's what yellow is. Okay. So DNF is our installer. Thank you. Scott has backed me up on the back channel. So to use DNF, we would simply say, did it again. There we go. Use it like app, sudo DNF, and then a package name of a package that lives in a repository. And we're going to do one. It's going to be really, really cool. A note about DNF. DNF installed packages can be installed individually or in groups. If we get to it, I'm going to do a group install here. Probably it's 42 after. We're probably not going to get to, but let me show you something. I could do an install of a single package by saying something like sudo. One more time. It's hard to explain the stupid thing that I keep doing, but we're just about ready to do a package install. So if we say DNF, how about sudo DNF? When you install packages, you always need to be a supervisor. Install, and then the name of the package, vim. That's it. It would install vim. But again, there are some packages that are grouped together. And if you want to see the default list of groups that are available, we can do this. And let's do it this way. DNF, it takes just a couple seconds for it to gather all of its information. OUP list, DNF group list. And that takes 10 to 15 seconds. Oh, is it quicker than that? There we go. So here's all the groups that we can install, and they hold lots and lots and lots and lots of utilities. So if I need all the system tools, then I can do a group install of the system tools. If I want to develop utilities and features in Rocky Linux, then I would install the development tools group. Cool stuff. So I want to do an install. I want to install an Apache server. We've done that as an exercise in the past. It takes 15, 20 minutes to install Apache server on a Raspberry Pi. Let's check out. Now I've got a link for you to do this. It's in my notes. I'm not going to put that up right now. I'm running short on time. So I'm just going to do it because this is so quick. Oops, I don't want it to do that. Copy and paste is the easier way. Right click, there we go. So I'm going to sudo dnf install, and this is the package name for the Apache web server. We hit the enter key. I'm going to note the time here. I got 20 seconds past 45. Oops, got to put in password. It's secure Linux. You got to put in password for everything you do. So ROCKYLINUX. Time is 35 seconds past the minute. And look, when you play Debian, it always says, is this okay? Default answer is yes. Here, the default is no. So I got to say yes. Costing me a few extra seconds. Buzz, buzz, grind, grind. We started this at 35 seconds plus my 10 seconds to do an explanation. And it's done in less than 25 seconds, and somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds was the actual work time. Now, this won't work because this is secure Linux. And secure Linux says my firewall is closed to everything. So I got to do two other things. First of all, I want this web server to boot up every time, or to run every time I boot up. So I got to do two commands to make that happen. We're going to make it a system service. That means we're just going to register to service. Sudo system control enable HTTPD. Bam, done. And now we're going to start that service. And so now it's internally running, bam, as a web server, but nobody can get to it because the firewall is closed. So the last thing we're going to do here is two commands. One, we're going to make an entry in the firewall that says open up port 80. And then we have to tell the operating system to read any changes in the firewall. So step number one, sudo firewall command space all these features. But here's what we're saying: add the HTTPD service as an open permanent entry in the firewall. I hit entry, enter. Okay, success, but it doesn't count until the system reads the new firewall configuration file. So we do that with this handy dandy little command, and then we're done. Sudo firewall command reload. Forget what you know about the old firewall rules, read all the firewall rules and re-implement it. And let me quit that share with you and open up a shiny new share. This is so cool. Not you, you. All right. We're going to close things off with this episode, with this task, which is kind of something I figured was going to happen. You can read my, sorry, I'm looking for I got 57 things open on my screen right now. Not you, goodness gracious, that's 58. This one. All right, share that with you. This is a new blank browser tab. Okay, and we're just going to put in the IP address of that Rocky Linux server, 192.168.1.105. Enter, buzz, buzz, grind, grind. It's not secure. Sure, there we go. And there is an Apache web server running on a Rocky Linux platform. The only other thing that I had in my notes, if we had time, is how to install a graphical user interface in this. Again, you can follow my notes from the download and do that yourself on here. this thing is just a heck of an operating system. It's a great learning tool for prepping for Linux Plus, prepping to learn to administer Rocky Linux. Let me refresh that page. I don't have to refresh this one. And with 11 minutes to go, we're going to wind things up here, answer questions for the rest of the show, and close her down. What are you doing? Okay, you're refreshing. Got to find the Q&A tab. There it is. All right, so I'm sure a lot happened while I'm gone, or maybe not. We've lost a few people. Wow. I hope I'm still with you. Scott, back channel, make sure let me know I'm still there, because my my YouTube monitor page is busy reloading. Rocky's wife, shame on you. You know the woman who did that, who played Rocky's wife? She was in the original Godfather. Okay, she was the son's wife, Michael. Yeah, Michael's wife. Let me reboot there, refresh that, and then do this with you. Control F5. Oh, there I am. I'm back-ish. All right, I might not see myself. That's okay. I don't need to. Let me see. Scott, can you give me a time mark where there's anything while I hunt? Because we finished this thing up on the hour. I got an almost hour's worth of stuff to look through. I'm just going to head down. If you asked a question and it didn't get answered in the last 50 minutes, post it again. I'm just going to jump to the end of the chat feed or near the end and start picking up from there. Oh, okay. People stopped writing around 10 after. I'm all right. I can catch up with this. Okay, I'm back on. Everything is working again. I'm passing 310. Scott's got links up for stuff. Holy smoke, Bullwinkle. Thank you. I love Rocky and Bullwinkle. Yeah, sorry to toss you under the bus, Scott. It's all in love. I did, yeah. What about XP? It was good stuff. Okay, very good. Thank you, Scott. Looks like he's looking either at himself or screen or another. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a very wide screen. I have so many open that I'm looking over at the left side of the screen. Camera's over there. And I was just reading notes and things like that. Reading messages. Adrian. Oh, heck, that caught up with everything here. No more chatter. Good. Everything's nice and quiet. People are starting to bail. That's okay. That's a good thing for it to happen here. We got 8 minutes worth of show. Don't forget to hit that like button, says Andre. Yeah, we got 3/4 of the people who I think peaked were here have liked. So that's cool. Let me post up a couple reminders of just a few things. It'd be a good way to close things down. If you would like to contact me outside of the real-time chat here today, you can do that. Same for Scott, same for Mike Myers if you like. Dave R at totalsem.com or drushtx at Yahoo. Scott is Scott J at TotalSem, and Mike Myers is Michael M. And I think if I do this, yeah, I don't have to quit or unquit. I can just do that and it turns up. So again, Friday, October 29th, starting at 3:45 my time, we're having an online fancy dress party at the unofficial Discord channel. As I update this slide for next week, I'll put a Discord link on here for current. But again, reminder, get logged into the server before then, because if you start at 3:45, you got to get logged in and blessed and approved and set up. Get to know the server a little bit and figure out how to join us on camera. Unofficial Discord channel, Scott posted the links for it. Here they are again. This is the one that'll probably get you in without an expiration date. It's good for a couple of days. They change every week. This one's been up for a few days, so it's going to expire shortly. We'll put up a new one next week, starting with Mike's show. There's our special for the week, 50% off bundles for A+, Net+, Sec+. You can read it. That's with ebook and Total Tester bundles. The checkout code when you go to www.totalsem.com and load up your basket is Glenn. Ends this Sunday night, October 3rd. There's all the links for all the tools we used in the show today. And my documents that are downloadable, my notes and everything that I used today to do this server, this presentation, you can find at pirsquare.zapto.org. There's one other slide hiding under there. What is this? Oh yeah, the link for Windows FX11, Windows 11 flavored Linux, and it runs Windows programs. It runs Windows EXE and Windows MSC programs. Really cool, really powerful. I've seen it operate. I haven't set it up to operate yet. That'll be one of my projects this weekend, in addition to working on work projects. All right, let's close that all together now. Close all tabs. Hopefully, that'll free up some memory. My thing is running really slow with all the junk that I've got up and running. Oh, okay. And Scott has reposted links for all of those things. I'm going to be on Discord today. As soon as I shut down here, it takes me about 10 or 15 minutes to close down some studio stuff and pick up the forums that I moderate for the company, answer those questions, and then I'll join on camera. Hope you'll join us too. The body count is climbing rapidly. I looked at it this morning. We got 425 active people on the Discord server. I hope you'll join us if you're new here and watching on the archive. I know everybody here is probably already a member of that Discord server, but people who are watching this later, join us. It's always available, and there's always ways to figure it out on how to join up. So with that, let's just close it up. We got 4 more minutes to go. I don't mind closing 4 minutes early. Weekend plans. The missus is out of town. That means I stay up late and work. When I stay up late and work, and she's already gone to bed, I get it with both barrels. Are you coming to bed? I'm going to come to bed eventually when I get the opportunity, but there's work to be done. Scott says I have to do things. Oh, let me see what I got over here. Is there anything else in my my notes that I have to check on? I think there always is. If time, do the following. There's not time. Installing that desktop is 8 simple command lines. If you get around to doing that, and there's an update and an upgrade, and call me, write me if you want to do this, and you're looking for a walkthrough. Heck, I'll Zoom with you. We could have a little fun. It installs 2 desktops that you can switch between, the GNOME or the GNOME, if you like, excuse me, and XFCE, and you can switch back and forth between them. It's kind of a cool thing. Upcoming project, because of this killer project, I can't do Minecraft. I don't know what I'm going to do, Minecraft or PowerPoint, RetroPie, but I'll have something cool for you next week. And I may just leave this thing run all week and we'll install the graphical interface on it. The challenge with that is I don't have a VNC server that's built into it. I got to go find a VNC install lab, and we'll see. We'll see. So I'm not going to run through that list of cool possible shows for future. I'm just going to pick one and we'll see how it goes. So again, with the missus not here, I don't get griped at to come to bed. I can just work until I'm utterly exhausted. All right, well, let's close this thing down. It's been great. We had a good turnout. Looking at this peak numbers, very nice at our peak. Thank you, as always, to Mike Myers for letting me do this with you every week. Thanks for Scott Jernigan, who just does an incredible job multitasking. He's writing books, he's editing books while he works the back channel. And I've asked him to do so much back channel stuff in the last couple of weeks that he is just really working. And I appreciate it very much, Scott. Many thanks to all the other great resources. Mostly, of course, I thank you guys. If you're not here, I'm not here. So that you're still interested in this, we're going to keep going. There's always something new and interesting coming down the pike, right? So I am David Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars, resident Pi specialist. I'm not a guru. I'm wishing you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call and visit your parents. Call and visit your friends and family. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. Good night. We'll see you on Discord. I'll see you at Mike's AMAs next week and my AMA next week. And until then, I am out of here.